Hello everyone, and welcome to yet another Arknights video. In today's video, we're mostly going to be focusing on the Ava Dream. My brain's being stupid with the name already, because it's all over the place due to translations and stuff like that. Ave Mujica, the die is cast. We need to talk. Okay, so as I mentioned on YouTube, I didn't really mention on Discord, but it was maybe at least logically sound of how I would go about this. For the most part, most collabs I had probably either no interest or any involvement with the prior IP beforehand. That's generally how most of this goes. It's why I've been always going crazy about doing certain collabs that I have interest in, and none of that really ever happening. But besides that point, if it is available and easy for me to get into, then I'll look into it and I'll talk about it, and I probably will dabble in it. That is not always the case. I'm looking at a specific anime collab that we've had prior that did not see the light of day on this account, because it wasn't in places that I easily could, watch in. TLDR, I am not going to pay 10 plus subscriptions just to watch all the different animes that come out, just to enjoy a collab. It's a double-edged sword. You have the fact that if you have all the anime in one area, that's bad for consumerism, because that just ends up being a monopoly and just ends up being worse for the consumer. But on the other hand, it's not as bad for the consumer technically, but it's still bad for the consumer if they have to pay multiple subscriptions, consistent subscriptions that they really want you to stay on, and if you forget about. So it's not even a double-edged sword. Both suck, honestly, when it comes to the anime scenes, in terms of how everything works, and licenses and all this shit. So if it ain't very obvious enough, the Dungeon Miche collab I never took part in because I had no interest in it, and I wasn't really able to partake in it without going for another subscription that I was not really planning on doing it. I am never going to be doing Hulu, I am never going to be doing Netflix, regardless of what is on there. If Arknights went to those two platforms, I would not watch it still. Fuck those two. Not in, like, some of them, Netflix for sure, Hulu, I just don't give a fuck. I use Crunchyroll, I use High Dive. If you can't get to those two, then I don't know what to really say. Put it on YouTube for free. Hey, that's what Arknights did. That's saying something. Granted, they didn't do it for the second season, and or did they do the second season? I don't believe they did the second season. They did it when it was during the airing of the second season. But besides the facts, yeah, I am quote-unquote done, aka I'm not dumb, and I'll explain why. This is gonna be a rant on more of Crunchyroll than this collab, because I can see why people would like it. I mean, I literally got to, like, the breaking point. There's just one issue, I'll get to that. One major, big-ass flaw that makes it impossible to watch after the 9th episode. It's that bad. I was sort of enjoying it. I wasn't interested in beforehand, personally. And a lot of the episodes were just kind of filler, it felt like. To me, I thought there was going to be like a good mixture of drama, but also music. I want to say music videos, but like songs intertwined into the anime. Not really at all. Like, if anything, I kind of, spoiler alert, I kind of went through the different episodes, and it seems like that was going to be more and more the case later on. We'll get to the major flaw in a second. It's not because of the show. for the most part, I can't really give a full opinion on it. I was interested, but it wasn't really hitting the right beats for me to continue to be like, oh wow, type thing. I would say it's like a 6 out of 10 so far. Now, why have I not finished it if it wasn't very obvious with the foreshadowing I just showcased? And again, more foreshadowing that I've already showcased, it's because of Crunchyroll. Now, at some point, if you were not hiding under a rock, you would know that Crunchyroll eventually switched to a different translation system, or whatever they use to translate things, and after a certain point, they were using AI. This is good and dandy if it actually works properly. Now, for me, I know some Japanese, but enough to like kind of get a little bit of context of what's going on, but not full context, and it eventually becomes impossible to fully enjoy without knowing a lot more Japanese and being fluent in listening to and speaking of Japanese language. Pretty much the translation, the auto translation, there is no English VA, it's just Japanese. You cannot just switch it to a different language in VA. Pretty much starting from episode 10 onwards, doesn't have a working proper English translation. Meaning, all the global English gets fucked and chucked and shucked and cucked and whatever you want to go with to actually enjoy the original source material, to be interested in this collab. Pretty much, I didn't know what happened. I don't know what happened in like the main climax of episode 10. The only thing I could assume was that fuck girl with her double-digit identity crisis, which might or may not be identity crisis, went crazy a little bit again, and they talked, and eventually they got back together. But I'm missing so much fucking context because the translations became continuously practicing. Like episode 11 or 12, I kind of looked in the future, we're talking about ramen when they're flying in a plane. So, yeah, that's just the insanity of the translation not working, and the translations you got were completely nonsense to what was actually happening on screen. And the only thing I could think of is because of them changing to a different translation system on top of the fact of using AI. It would be nice if it worked, but it just seemed like they did a different video for translations and just slapped it into these videos without double checking to make sure, oh hey, this is supposed to be the translation, this is what they're actually saying. No, they just slapped it in thinking it was the correct translation to what was going on in the episodes. Now, if you are a bigger IP, this wouldn't be an issue, but I don't know how big Bang Dream is, but it seems like the Dice cast Ave Mujica is not popular enough to get a proper translations for the last few episodes of the season. That's what it seems like to me, at least on Crunchyroll side. I don't know if this anime is in different, places to watch it at, but if it's in others that I'm not going to subscribe to, for obvious reasons I've already mentioned before, it would be pointless to suggest it. Unless I pirate, of course. Unless I go to the high seas, and I have done that before I started watching proper websites, of course, fun fact, I did at one point sail the high seas, and I could theoretically do that, but at this point I am taking a break from the anime. I was kind of doing stuff on the side because, again, I wasn't fully invested in this. Even if up to at least all the way through episode 9, I was able to understand what was going on, I just wasn't really that interested. I saw what things were kind of going, and I wanted to see how things continued. I was going to at least try to finish the whole season, the only season so far, and try to be at least a bit faithful. And then see how that implies into the Arknights universe and why the fuck they're here and all sorts of shit, and that one mysterious villain that I kept seeing, because YouTube thumbnails and all that stuff, and, you know, people talk about the boss, supposedly this boss being a big pain in the dick, so, yeah. That is the current situation I'm in with, Ave Mujica at this point in time. Could it be fixed? Yes. Would Crunchyroll do it? I don't know. Probably not, because it's been at least a couple of months since, a decent amount of months since March, was it? I think it was like March was when it started going crazy, if I remember seeing that correctly. So unless the Beijing project, which I'm assuming is the company that works with this, actually goes and fixes the translations or forces Crunchyroll to fix their translations, I would have to either high seas or just don't really care anymore about what happens. Yay! So that is the current predicament for me when it comes to this collab. Again, like, when I have the chance to be at least faithful or at least fair to a collab, this is one of those rare instances where I can't really do that, not because of my own choosing, but because of a fault of a company. So it is what it is. We are going to at least play the event. We might as well do headhunting because we can. It's not going to be hard for me to do 120 polls. I'm just going to be saying this up front right now. It's not going to be that hard at all. Will I build these characters? Maybe, maybe not. I'm back and forth on how I really feel about said characters. I liked some of the JPVAs, and some of them were kind of okay, interesting, but at the end of the day, I just raising my shoulders here, like, I don't really know if I'm going to go that crazy over the characters. So, yeah, it's kind of the unfortunate scenario when it comes to this. Will I be going for the skins? Probably not, let's be brutally honest. Bonus reward. Okay. So you can get, so from what I understand, there are 2 freebie operators to get, and then 3 of them that are obtainable through the banner, which of course these 2, Yumi and Naomi, I think it's Naomi. But that's something. And then of course, kind of like the main 3, kind of like a friend triangle shenanigans kind of happening. So I could go pretty much. I'm not gonna go too much over the story, but the fact that at least, if I'm understanding things, there's 2 celebrities in this group. She kind of becomes a celebrity, mostly like a social media influencer, and trying to like do brand deals and like that. Like, I think her kind of mentions that she's like a show off, and yeah, she tries to earn that bag essentially. Well, she's like a daughter of a business tycoon where the father fucks up, gets drunk, no longer essentially related to the family because the grandfather or the father of the father is pretty much kicked out of the family, is essentially no longer ties to the business as well, so she's kind of next in line. There might be some shenanigans with that, but again, at that point, the whole, like, continuing after, like, pretty much episode 10 and later, I can't really say much of what the fuck happens context-wise. I can only just figure out. I did not really watch. Like, I tried to finish episode 10, and it's like I tried to look at future episodes. Like, yeah, this ain't gonna work. And of course, the split personality disorder girl, where it's hard to really say if it's split personality or she's just so crazy or so smart in the head that she essentially created multiple personalities just to fake and to be optimal in certain scenarios. from other things. I don't know if that's really the case or not. Interesting character, probably the most interesting character of the bunch so far from what I've watched to a certain point. From what I can briefly understand at a certain point of like both of her personalities accepting each other type of deal or something like going on. To overall be happy. So yeah. That's all I can really say. Interesting that they decided to go her as the 6-star. I feel like she's the main character, really. She would make more sense as a 6-star than her. But I could also understand why they might have done that, because she's kind of crux to the story as well. So it's like these are kind of bigger crux than her. Just so far. Like, she's kind of just tagging along, really. As well as these guys are tagging along behind her. It's kind of the feeling of, like, the main priority of, like, in characters. But, from what I understand, like, these characters are, like, supposed to be really good together. And from what I've seen. Personally, I'm back and forth. I don't have really much else to say. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of 5-star variations here that I could possibly use, but realistically, I don't know if I will end up using any of the 4, really. And it may just end up becoming a niche scenario, like with, is it Anna? Yana. I believe it's Yana. Whereas, like, niche scenario-wise, you would probably use, or, Blitz. One of the other, like, 2 good examples of, like, the only characters that I really be using 4-star and 5-star-wise as that weird, specific niche scenario of using. Either for a stun, or for invisibility. So, take that into consideration with these characters. Do these guys offer, like, a very niche, specific use case for something that most 4-stars and 5-stars don't have reliably? Probably not. Just because they're trying to focus all these characters together to make a cohesive team, except, you know, they're not going to worry about other niches, of course. And of course, all these characters get skins. Personally, I'm not going to worry about it too much. I might change my mind, but overall, a lot of this stuff I probably won't really mess with. It's just what it is. $12? I mean, you could go for it, but if they don't really have anything too unique to it, I probably won't worry about it. There'll probably be some, like, story thing that will probably be packaged with this. There's a lot of decent stuff to get with this event. More friends doesn't really matter because it doesn't really matter too much at this point anymore. Some people try to say pretty much anything related to the credit score because of credit items, credit points. I don't really care about that too much. Like, the whole, like, clue exchange doesn't really matter anymore to me, because there's no point in worrying about that. And you can say free items, but it's like, really, it's you have better items you get in infield than a normal OG Arknights. Just saying. And then you have what's the other thing I was thinking of that I can think of right now? I mean, it just ended up being the same thing again with, like, CC, but unless you really need specific operators that you don't have in your friends list, but the friends list of the people you know your friends would be able to change it, so it doesn't really matter. It's more of a hassle than anything else trying to specifically have a friend support of a specific character. You just have to randomly get it and hope you get it, one that is feasible enough or strong enough without getting screwed over because they're not your friends. A very niche scenario, but hopefully you get what I'm getting at when understanding. I did notice this, the reach thing, where it shows you how long the reach of a skill is. That's pretty fucking cool, honestly. that they added this. That helps out a lot in some scenarios. The drop list of upgrade materials now prioritizes recommended stages at the top. I'm really curious to see what they mean by that. Skins they can grab. I'm assuming you have to buy it. I'm just assuming. And stuff tied to the event package-wise. More character stuff that you can get in this. I personally... I wish they had more credit store operators, but they won't do that. They could add this stuff into credit store, but they won't. They won't use that feature again for some stupid reason. They added this feature all the way in the intro of the game, and like the first 6 months, they added door knives like the last operator at 10,000, and then there's no fucking point in worrying about credits anymore for free shit that a lot of the time for me that doesn't really matter. A lot of this stuff doesn't really matter as much at all anymore. Like the only thing I probably could grab is the Honor Rock, but even then I'm like, I don't care too much. Come on. At this point, it's very easy to get a lot of credit store usage. Like, the fact that you can get this in about a month's time is a good showcase of how stupid this feature is, that they don't continue it. It irks me. It greatly irks me. Annoys me greatly. Anyway. Might as well grab that. At least in 120 pulls right here. If you do simple math, 6 times 12. My brain just kind of went stupefied and went bleh. My brain just went bleh. Why? Anyway, 6 times 12 is... Why is my brain being stupid right now? $72, if I'm correct. 72,000. Not talking about like the 10 front training pools, so technically it's 10. So about only 60,000 a random to essentially guarantee the 6-star. If I'm doing the simple math correctly, not taking consideration the other options of avenue for summons that you could possibly get before then or after. And I could farm pulls if I really need to. There's a part of me that doesn't really want to, because I think, again, I wanted to be faithful to the collab, but it's just... It ain't gonna happen. So... we're gonna save that after the event, see how good or bad the event truly is, because people are breaking out and seeing me that it was way too stupid. Lately, from what I been playing in Arknights recently, it depends, because some of the event bosses were been pretty stupid, and then the hard in-game content has been kind of stupidly insane. Not so much CC per se, but like the permanent CC stuff with like the stage versions are ridiculous. So yeah, 2 characters. I'm assuming they're gonna give us a crap ton amount of points, because if they're not, I'm actually genuinely gonna be surprised. SS-ST-1 story. Okay, this is gonna be a bit weird. I'm gonna be skipping the story as always. I am kind of in this boat of, like, I would love to have collabs I'm interested in being collabs, but at the same time, Hypergriff 2 times in a row have done collabs that I haven't really been instantly interested in. One of them I'm not going to ever be interested in for lots of reasons on top of Yo-Star's influence. And then this collab, I just never really had much of an interest in it to begin with. And then the whole Crunchyroll thing, I just is not really hoping with that. I can't properly finish it to get an idea of how I really feel about doing, like, going hard on it, or try to go for the characters, or try to read the story. I could just avoid everything, which I did do that for the other anime collab. The wrench is turned, the drawbridge is lowered, step forward, and explore the castle in the pale. So it's been quite a hot minute since we did a collab of it. Moons are bright tonight, so what could possibly be news to you? Take care, for this castle, a great many creations come to life when the moonlight shines on them. Don't be seen by this quiet stance in the corner now. Our attacks won't do any meaningful damage to it. But once the moonlight shone on it enough, it would quickly gain consciousness and come to life. The living creatures are very hostile to guests. Don't be fooled by their cute exteriors. That's kinda not really cute. I'm assuming you cast a shadow by looking. What did all these creatures pop up? You've seen the moonlight does more than just fill them with consciousness. You sit there and views are whatever illuminated too. You might be explaining the next blood lights, then you have the upper hand, also they do elemental damage. And all those things like, okay, so they gain speed, but they're normally slow. But kinda tanky? Is that a clock bell? Do I hear that right? Is the clock in the center of big hall living creation too? No. The lights are dark revealing on its face merely tell what time it is inside the castle. The thing stuck to it is about to hatch, so that's the real threat. So take notes. When the bell tolls, it means the wheels are about to move. Pay attention to how the light shifts. What the fuck? Yeah, the moonlight's coming in a different direction now, so it comes this way. Get ready for the battle. This creation becoming especially vicious in the moonlight, so make your position.
They'll pay for what they've done.
I don't think that matters. Because you can only do this. Oh, because I can't. Oh, yeah, good. Okay, yeah.
At your service.
So you don't really get punished. Just put someone else down. I kind of get the gist, because then you put it on like that topper row.
Let's grab a nice dinner after we clean up the battlefield.
Doesn't matter.
My treat.
At this point. Okay, I don't like how you have to scroll. I don't understand the point in doing that.